Everybody who's watching, if you got anything from Johnny, check that because that boy be putting that CBD in y'all.
Everybody who's watching, if you got anything from Johnny, check that __ because that boy be putting that CBD in y'all __. Those were the words of former employee of Johnny Dang Music. And he said it years before the internet caught on. Now, years later, a massive music raid hits, and Kodak Black is suddenly in the spotlight. He had to sell my soul out there. Everyone I know call me. Did he expose it all? Now, Johnny Dang faces serious heat over alleged music, fake jewelry operations. Let's get into it. The grill goes. Kodak Black pulled a $50,000 grill out his mouth on Instagram Live in front of his whole audience. And that one act casual, music unscripted, one man done with one piece of jewelry, became the moment the internet attached to one of the biggest fraud allegations hip-hop has seen in years. Music Kodak, born Bill Kahan Capri in the Golden Acres Project of Pompano Beach, Music Florida, has been putting serious money into jewelry since the come up. Chains, pendants, iced out watches, music, custom grills, all of it custom, all of it expensive, all of it tied to one story, where he started and how far he got. In the culture he comes from, what hangs off your neck and sits between your teeth is not decoration. It is a receipt, it is proof. And for years, one craftsman sat at the center of where a significant portion of that money was going, Johnny Dang. There are documented visits. Kodak flying specifically into Houston to pick up custom pieces from the shop. Dang making personal drop-off music of completed work. Both men in each other's content. Both names boosting each other's presence. The arrangement ran on mutual benefit music for years. Kodak got the craftsmanship. Dang got the high-profile endorsement of one of rap's most watched. Names walking around in his pieces. No public drama, just business. Then in late 2024, Kodak received what the internet immediately named the Skittles Grill. Music, a custom multicolored diamond set built by Dang's shop with rainbow-colored stones arranged like candy across the teeth, priced at $50,000. He hyped it. He wore it on a private jet. He called the stones candy and described the whole piece with the energy of a man who had just received exactly what he paid for. And then he went on Instagram Live. And on that live, he reached in and took it out. On camera, casually, Kodak removed the grill right there in front of whoever Music was watching. He said it was too bulky, too over the top, not fitting where he was at anymore. He said he was going back to playing gold slugs from his Broward County contacts. Done with it. He had to sell my soul out there. Everyone I know call me Music. He kept the live running. He laughed. The tone was not a confrontation. It was a man publicly unbothered about writing. Off $50,000 in custom diamonds the same way most people return, Music, a shirt does not fit. But by the time he moved on, the clip had already been screen recorded by half the people watching, and it was already on its way to places it was never meant to travel. YouTube titles appeared almost immediately. Music. Kodak Black sends terrifying warning to Johnny Dang after fake chain discovery. Music. Kodak Black issues chilling warning over alleged fake chain drama. Thumbnails with red arrows, all caps words. Every single one of those videos built on the same grill. Removal footage. Repackaged inside a story about something much bigger than a style complaint. Because simultaneously, Music, starting around late March 2026, claims were spreading across every corner of hip-hop social media, Music, that Dang's Houston operation had been hit. Federal involvement. Rappers filing complaints. King of Bling allegedly facing arrest over diamonds, Music, that were not what his clients were told they were. And Kodak's grill removal clip was a visual the internet chose, Music, to anchor all of it to. Here is what that clip actually was. A man removed a grill because it was too big. That is the full content of the footage. He did Music, not say fake diamonds on that live. He did not say raid. He did not file anything with anyone. He said the piece was bulky and he wanted gold. Full stop. Music, but context is a different thing entirely, because this moment did not land inside a quiet news cycle. It landed right on top of something that had been smoldering in the background of hip-hop's music jewelry conversation since 2021, since the day a 23-year-old, former Dang employee, Music, decided to go live and tell anyone who was listening what he'd seen while working inside the operation. Music. Kodak's existing track record on authenticity only gave the internet more rope to run with. In 2020, while incarcerated, his legal team sent cease and music desist letters to Walmart after third-party vendors began selling unauthorized knockoffs of his Sniper Gang chains through the platform. The statement from his side was unambiguous. They would not allow any company to knowingly profit from music fake versions of his brand. And separately, there's documented footage from an interview, Music, where a host suggested testing Kodak's diamonds on camera. He shut it down and walked, not because the chains were fake, they were not music, but because in his world, posing that question is the insult. You should already know the answer before you open your mouth. Music. He has also called out a separate jeweler before over a $100,000 chain he received before a BET Awards appearance. Music. That he felt did not meet the standard he paid for. This is a man who has opinions about his jewelry and does not keep them private. So, when the grill removal clip landed next to raid headlines and diamond fraud allegations, the connection felt intuitive to millions of people who absorbed it Music through a thumbnail before any of the details had a chance to catch up. By this point, Kodak's overall jewelry portfolio, Music, stretched across Hamer Jewelers, Icebox, and Limitless, with individual Music, pieces reportedly costing hundreds of thousands. In 2021, he walked into Icebox in Atlanta and spent $180,000 in a single session. Music, treating it as a cultural event and pulling up with his full Sniper Gang crew. His most talked about recent commission was Music, a 7-inch skull pendant from Hamov, Viking horns, emeralds, 8 custom charms. Music, a kilo chain, the whole architecture of his life compressed into one piece. Reportedly Music, purchased for $800,000 cash. This is a man with skin in the game when it comes to the authenticity of what he wears. Music, he has always had skin in it, which makes the fact that the internet chose his grill removal as the face of the dang story somewhat Music understandable, even if the actual footage does not say what the thumbnails claimed it said. But to fully understand why the story found the momentum it did, Music, you need to first understand the scale of what was allegedly happening, and that requires understanding the scale of Music, what Johnny Dang built to make it possible. The King's Empire. Johnny Dang did not start with a storefront, a clientele, or a reputation. He started with a flea market repair table on the south side of Houston and a family inheritance that crossed oceans. You asked to see the boss? I'm Johnny Dang, the king of bling, he said on the rocks. That title is 2 decades of grind compressed into one music line. It was not given, it was accumulated, one piece at a time, one client at a time, starting from a place nobody in Houston's jewelry industry was Music paying attention to. My father and my grandfathers were jewelers. The knowledge came from watching family in Vietnam, gold, stone setting. The craft was inherited, not learned from a course or an apprenticeship. It traveled with him on a boat out of Vietnam and survived the move to a country where none of it was immediately applicable to anything. Music. So he sponsored us, me and my brother and my mom. Music. So our family came here 1996. Houston, 1996. Nothing waiting for him. No contacts, no storefront, no foothold in any industry. Just a skill set and the willingness to start from the lowest available rung. After flea market, I opened a garage like Music, a small kind of workshop. I started second shop, and they call it Sharpstown Mall at Southside Houston. Flea market repair, then a garage workshop, then a unit Music in Sharpstown Mall on the South Side, and that mall address changed the entire trajectory. Music. It was at that South Side location that hip-hop found him, and the grill business arrived almost by accident through a dentist. Customers were coming in for permanent gold grills, which required dental impressions that only a dentist could make. The dentist did the dental work. Dang realized he could bring the diamonds into the same equation Music and do both under one roof. Nobody else in the market was doing it that way. Nobody was offering the full package, the impression, the gold setting, Music, the stones, with the kind of speed and access that came from controlling every part of production Music in-house. I got into the grill game is just because I started to work for the dentist. Once that door was open, the client list grew in a way that reads like the roster of 2 full eras of hip-hop history. I've been making so many grills with the client. Music. You know, all the leader of the old generation like Snoop, Paul Wall, P. Diddy. Those were just the first names on the list. Rick Ross, Migos, and then the younger, new generation, Trippie Redd, Lil Pump. Travis Scott called for a birthday grill and had it in his hands within 2 days. Cam Newton's dental impression sat permanently on file at the shop, ready to be pulled the moment he wanted a second set. Quavo got a blue diamond grill built to match a lyric. Lil Wayne put the name in a song and turned it into a global brand reference. Piece after piece, relationship after relationship, the operation became the address for any rapper with real money to spend on their teeth and their neck. And the thing that made the shop genuinely different from every competitor chasing that same clientele, the thing that gave Dang a structural edge no one else could replicate easily, was the manufacturing model. Because a lot of jeweler, they middleman of middleman, you know what I'm saying? He was not brokering orders out. He was building in-house. Every piece came out of his own facility, not a supplier he was marking up, not a workshop across the city adding their own margin to the timeline and the price. They actually don't really make a jewelry. That'd make me stand out different, because we have my own manufacturer here. That meant faster production, lower base cost, and total control over materials going into every piece. When a client called and needed something specific by a specific date, nobody had to make 3 phone calls and wait for 3 confirmations. The answer was yes, and the clock started immediately. For high-profile clients who moved fast and spent big, that efficiency was everything. This already for 4,500 diamonds here. It might take another 5 diamonds. So, almost 10,000 diamond on one piece. He was building a Godzilla pendant with nearly 10,000 diamonds across one single piece. Black, white, and blue stones layered into a monster that required weeks of careful setting work before a single music stone was ready to be shown. This won almost $100,000, but that from me, from manufacturer wholesale, $100,000 manufacturer cost, his own internal price to produce. Walk into a regular jewelry store with the same order, and the number is $300,000 to $400,000. That is the gap this operation was sitting inside. That is the extraordinary margin that owning the full manufacturing chain creates when you're selling to a clientele that measures success by the size of the number on the invoice. And that gap, that precise structural advantage, is the same architecture the allegations sit on top of, because the accusations have been following this shop for years are not music about subpar craftsmanship or sloppy settings. They're about one very specific, very profitable decision that the customers allegedly never knew was being made on their behalf. The decision about what kind of diamonds actually went into those pieces. Lab-grown diamonds, produced primarily through a process called chemical vapor deposition, or CVD, are chemically identical to natural mined diamonds. Same carbon structure, same hardness rating, same optical brilliance. A standard diamond tester, the kind used in most retail jewelry settings, cannot distinguish a lab-grown stone from a natural one. Only advanced spectroscopic equipment or a GIA-certified origin report can make that determination with certainty. Your eyes cannot see the difference. Even trained gemologists holding the stone cannot tell without the right tools. The cost gap between a lab-grown diamond and a mined diamond of comparable visual quality can run as high as 98% cheaper for the lab version. On a $100,000 piece, the kind of piece that gets handed to a rapper who trusts the jeweler's word on what is inside it, the cost gap represents an enormous discrepancy between what was charged music and what was delivered if the stones were lab-grown and the customer was told they were natural. Lab-grown diamonds entered hip-hop's custom jewelry world prominently through the 2010s and into the music 2020s as production technology improved and costs dropped. Many jewelers adopted them honestly, marketing them transparently as lab-grown options that delivered the same visual impact at a fraction of the cost. Some artists preferred them precisely because they avoided the ethical baggage of the mining industry. None of that is the controversy. The controversy has always been about the one scenario where the customer is not told, where they pay for natural and receive lab-grown, and never find out unless they test a piece themselves. That is the story Johnny Dang tells about himself, and it is a real story. The flea market, the garage, the mall unit, the generations of family knowledge, The decades of building one of the most recognizable brand names in hip-hop. The empire is real, which is precisely what makes the allegations that we're about to land on it so seismic, because the bigger the foundation, the louder it shakes when someone who built it from the inside decides to go on live and start talking. The Inside Man. On April 22nd, 2021, a 23-year-old went live. His name was Plug Geo, also referred to in some coverage as Plug Geo, with a full name referenced in various reports, Music, as Jose Mata. He had spent 2 years working inside Johnny Dang's operation, not in the background, not answering phones. He was a person flying Music, out twice a week to handle pickup runs. He was moving six-figure bags, managing VIP client logistics, developing custom piece, concepts, and by his Music own account, generating $9 million in annual revenue for the shop he was about to publicly walk away from. He had asked for a raise to 4% commission. He had been told no and handed a $2 hourly increase instead. Then he was presented with a contract that said, among other things, that he could not post his own work online, could not build a personal brand, and could not operate professionally in any form Music outside of Dang's pages. He refused to sign it. He quit, and then Dang apparently posted about him publicly. So, Plug Geo went live. Let's talk about how many times I don't flew out for this dude and done picked up hundreds and thousands of dollars. He was not being careful with his words. Music. He was not running legal calculations before he opened his mouth. He was a 23-year-old with 2 years of grievances in a live Music audience, and he laid out everything in order out loud for as long as it took. The compensation picture came first. He described generating $9 million in revenue for the company over the course of a single year Music, working on 2% commission plus $10 per hour as a base rate. When he asked to have his commission raised to 4%, on $9 million for a person running celebrity pickups Music and building out the shop's most creative custom work, the response he received was a $2 raise to his hourly wage. He said, "Oh, I'm going to give you a $2 raise. I only get paid $10 an hour because I get paid 2% commission every month." He described carrying a $100,000 cash pickup alone with his 2 daughters at home, asking for a security guard to come with him on the run and being told no. He said money was regularly docked from his paycheck for minor paperwork oversights, $200 for a missed layaway slip, $1,000 pulled at the end of some Music months while the operation collected its millions and the man at the top sat in his mansion. The creative work came Music next. He said he was the person who introduced emerald cut custom designs to the shop's catalog, that he conceived the pieces, developed them, and sent them out under Dang's name, without a single line of credit. He described a piece called the Clark Boys Music pendant that he claimed to have, built from scratch, from his own design, with no acknowledgement of his contribution. Music, he said this was a pattern, creativity going in, credit staying out, Music, money going in one pocket. And then came the part of the live that the whole internet would be quoting 5 years later. Music. He said customers had been coming to him directly after leaving Dang's shop, after receiving their pieces, reporting that when they took those pieces to independent music testers, the stones were coming back as CVD, lab-grown, not the natural VVS diamonds they had been told they were Music, getting at the prices they had, been charged for natural stones. And I've had several clients who come in and they'll be like, "Bro, why am I underscore get tested CVD?" Well, I don't underscore no. Underscore, y'all got to ask Johnny, bro. That's Johnny's. He was precise about where his knowledge ended. He did not claim to have personally witnessed stones being switched in the production process. He said he did not control what went Music into the pieces. That was Dang's production department. What he was reporting was a pattern of clients coming back to Music, him with test results that did not match what they had been told. That distinction matters. This was an employee flagging a Music pattern, not a confession of personally witnessing fraud. But the picture it drew was specific enough to be taken seriously Music by anyone listening carefully. Then the contract section of the live arrived, the moment that explained why, after 2 years of loyalty and $9 million in revenue, the relationship ended. He brought out a contract and told me if I didn't sign the contract that he would fire me. The document, Music, as he described it, said he could not post his work online, could not build his own name, and could not operate music independently in any professional capacity outside of Dang's brand pages. He refused to sign. He walked out. He said he did it respectfully, music, with gratitude for what he'd learned, but with no intention of signing away the right to exist professionally as himself. And that's really the reason why I left, because there was no loyalty in none of this underscore that he was saying. He closed the lie by announcing he was opening his own shop in Houston near Dang's location. Same city, same clientele, same game, but his own way. Music. He said anyone who wanted the real VIP experience, someone picking you up at the airport, taking you out, building an actual relationship, knew where to music find him. The live landed with a split reaction. Some people treated it as exactly what it was. Music, a former employee with direct insider knowledge reporting on a production pattern that affected paying customers. Others dismissed music, it as a disgruntled exit rant with an agenda behind it. Viewer comments included people sharing their own experiences with pieces from Dang's shop, stones reportedly failing tests, gold-plated components, music, results that did not match what the invoices said they had paid for. Others defended the shop entirely and called music Plug Geo opportunistic. The story largely went quiet after 2021. Plug Geo opened his shop. Some clients switched over. Life moved on. Then in music, 2023, a Reddit thread in our /jewelry titled "Is Johnny Dang Legit?" brought the allegations back into circulation. The original poster was about to spend $60,000 and had seen the music ex-employees' claims. The thread that followed was full of people who had done their own due diligence. Music. Users describing small preset stones and CAD design pieces that returned inconclusive test results. Account of mixed stones in music single pieces. Reports of better service and more transparent communication from Plug Geo's shop right next door. The consensus was not a verdict. It was a warning. Music. Get an independent tester before the money changes hands, and do not rely only on the jeweler's word for what is inside the piece. That thread sat there for 2 more years. And then March 2026 arrived, and with it, the person with the biggest music platform and the most years behind them in the relationship finally decided to go public. The raid, the fire, and the final word. In March 2026, Sauce Walker went on Instagram Live and took every piece of Johnny Dang jewelry off his body while his audience watched. He did music. Not do it quietly. He named the allegations. He named the years. He named the money. Sauce Walker claimed a client relationship with Dang spanning over 20 years and totaling more than $500,000 in purchases. 20 years. Music. $500,000. And on that live, he said it was lab-grown CVD diamonds and side pieces he had paid natural diamond prices for. Music. That the misrepresentation had been systematic and that the operation had shown favoritism toward out-of-town celebrity clients' music over the Houston clientele who had built the business up from the early days. He then announced that he was replacing everything with a $1 million permanent diamond set commission from Plug Geo, the same man who had gone live in 2021 and said everything nobody in Houston's jewelry scene wanted to hear. 5 years later, the original whistleblower had his most prominent client endorsement yet. Plug Geo publicly backed every word of Sauce Walker's account, drawing on his own insider knowledge as direct corroboration of the pattern he had described years earlier. Music. The 2 timelines, the 2021 internal account and the 2026 public removal, now had a visible line connecting music them. And once that line was drawn, the broader conversation opened up around it quickly. Chief Keef's name surfaced in connection with pieces being sent for independent testing. Music. Lil Durk's past comments about overpriced and potentially misrepresented jewelry in the culture were dug up and reattached music to the current drama. Diamond tester videos flooded TikTok, and in a moment of genuine irony that the internet did not miss, Memphis rapper Ami Casino reportedly came forward accusing Plug Geo himself of selling lab-grown diamonds, suggesting the misrepresentation music problem did not begin and end with one shop on one street in Houston. The rabbit hole, as it turned music out, had multiple floors. In hip-hop's jewelry world, everybody was pointing a finger at somebody, and those fingers were starting to point in circles. Now here is music, where the official record matters. No confirmed Department of Justice filing, no Houston Music Police Department report, no verified law enforcement action against Johnny Dang have been documented as of mid-April 2026. None. Music, the raid, as described in viral videos across YouTube and TikTok, does not appear in any court docket or mainstream verified source. Houston publication Headline reported in early April 2026 Music that Dang had been targeted by a wave of AI-generated deepfake videos, fabricated content showing him appearing to confess to fraud or being let out of his shop in handcuffs. Music, produced with enough visual plausibility to move through timelines at scroll speed without being questioned. Yahoo and Fox Music. 26 Houston both covered the deepfake campaign. Dang's team flagged the videos. Houston locals pushed back in comments, but the content had already traveled to hundreds of thousands of people before any clarification had Music a chance to reach them. Dang responded directly on Instagram around April 1st, 2026. He called the raid and arrest content, Music fake news, planted lies built for clicks, amplified by AI tools, and designed to damage a business he had spent 30 years constructing from nothing. He reminded his audience of where he came from: a boat out of Vietnam, a flea market, a garage, a mall unit. Music. He said critics and former employees were free to take their money elsewhere, but anyone using his name publicly needed Music to treat it with respect, and he made one countermove that added a complicated new dimension to the story. Dang's response pointed to a reported figure of around $6. $7 million in outstanding balances owed to his shop by various artists, with Sean Kingston and Rich the Kid referenced in connection to those numbers. Sit with that. The same culture Music that was publicly accusing this man of fraud was, according to him, sitting on millions of dollars Music in unpaid debt to his operation. That counter did not resolve the original allegations, but it changed the shape of the conversation in a way that no one on the accusation side Music seemed fully prepared for. Now, where does Kodak actually sit in all of this? Kodak did not file a complaint. He did not make any direct public statement naming Johnny Dang or the diamond controversy in 2026. The footage the internet tied to the raid narrative was from a 2024 Music Instagram Live where he removed a grill because the fit was not working for him anymore. By every available account, the issue was aesthetic, too bulky, too flashy, not his vibe at the time. He was not on that live accusing anyone of anything except making a grill that was too big for his taste. The silence he kept throughout the 2026 firestorm was not Music suspicious. It was a silence of a man who had not inserted himself into a conversation and was not planning to. His own history with live stream moments becoming larger events than intended goes back to 2018, when an Instagram Live at his Pembroke Pines home showing others around marijuana and a firearm was watched in real time by law enforcement, leading to the Broward Sheriff's Office arriving at the door. Music. He was booked on 7 felony charges that night. Several were eventually dropped, and he served. Approximately 7 months before release, he used that time to earn his GED and legally change his name to Bill K. Capri. The pattern is documented. Kodak goes live casually. The camera catches something. The world makes it into a story he did not write. The 2024 grill removal is the same category of moment. Different stakes, same mechanism. What is sitting underneath all of it, and what will not go away, regardless of how the specific story resolves. Music is a structural shift in the diamond market that makes this entire class of allegation possible, and without proper protection, virtually undetectable. The only genuine protection a buyer in hip-hop's custom jewelry world has at this point is a J's certified grading report that specifies the stone's origin, not a jeweler's word, not a high price tag, not a famous name above the door, a physical document, an independent certification. Music, something that exists outside the handshake and cannot be edited after the money has changed hands. Kodak Black's $50,000 Skittles grill was, in the end, just music, a grill he did not want to keep wearing, but it landed in the middle of a conversation that was 5 years in the making, a conversation about what is actually inside some of the most expensive pieces in the culture, and about what happens when the people who built those operations from the inside decide they have nothing left to lose by music telling the truth about what they saw. The streets are watching. The testers are out. And the era of just taking a jeweler's word for what is in your chain, that era is done.